right. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining, and we are going to go ahead and get started. So today we are going to be talking about leveraging your online ordering solution for success. We're very excited to have everyone here that has joined. A quick agenda. We're going to be talking and hearing from Maple Street Biscuit Company's CEO, and I will also be talking about Revel's online ordering, doing some high level overview. And please notice all of attendees, you should have a Q&A box available to you that you can type in questions throughout the webinar. So please, anything that we're talking about, any items that we go over, feel free to ask any questions, type them into that Q&A box, and we will go ahead and circle back to those at the end of the call. To do a quick introduction, I'm your host. My name is Stephanie Smith, and I am a part of Revel's professional services team. We also have on the call today Scott Moore, who is Maple Street Biscuit Company's CEO, and he is going to take it over from here. So thanks so much, Scott.
Thank you, Stephanie, and it is good for us to be on this call with many of our peers that are in this industry going through this particular season. And if we can help each other, that certainly is our goal. If you've been into Maple Street or heard about it, you know that Maple Street's a mission-driven company. Our mission is help people, serve others, be a part of the community. And everything we do gets filtered through that. At Maple Street, we don't have community, every store is a community store. We call it by the community it's in. So the original one was in San Marco, which is a little area outside of Jacksonville on the east side of the river. And we call it San Marco. If you go in there, the coffee mugs have San Marco on the coffee mug. If you go to our one downtown Chattanooga, it's called City, the locals call it. And you'll find that on the coffee mug. But we also don't have store managers. We have community leaders. And our thought behind this is, and I've been a store manager in my life, is that if you have a store manager, what are they supposed to do? Manage stuff. For us, we have community leaders. Their job is to live out our mission, help people, serve others, be a part of our community, which means a couple of things. One, they need to know our team members and where they're at in life. The number one question we ask them is, tell me your story. The second thing is with our guests, is that we're here to serve them and find a way to see how that we can serve in those communities. And we do that in lots of different fashions. I would say that this COVID-19 season has really challenged us to think about how we do that and the unique ways in which we can serve. And we're going to share a few of those things with you today. Maple Street started back in November of 2012. I and a friend of mine had lost our jobs, and neither of us had any restaurant experience or any culinary background. So what do? You go open a restaurant. We've had quite a story along the way. From November 2012 to now, we have 33 community stores throughout the Southeast, each led by a community leader, being guided by our 4 principles, which have guided us to where we're at. As we've grown through that time, we also looked for what kind of technology that could help us. And we've been very cautious about how we've chosen technology, because for us, that guest engagement and building relationships is really critical. As we started out, we had a point of sale system, and then we realized it couldn't meet the needs we were looking for. And we did a pretty thorough analysis, and we chose Revel to be our point of sale. But I will tell you, before this, there were 3 things I believed true were about Revel. And those 3 things that I thought were true is that Revel is a static offering. We put our menu out there. We had it for in-store use and then online ordering. And if guests wanted to use it, it was an option for them to go do that. The second thing I knew was true about Revel point of sale with us is that it was an ordering platform. It was there for our guests as they needed it. It needed to be accurate and provide that information. And we used it as that. And then the third thing is that Revel was a vendor for us, that they were one of several vendors who were helping us to go through this process, but they were a vendor we were acquiring something from. I would tell you that this recent challenge has made me rethink everything. Um, there's an old saying that says, the need to know is a wonderful teacher. And in going through this season, we needed to know how we could serve our guests and serve them ways in which they needed us to, and serve them in ways that made it easy to experience, and serve them living out our mission, help people serve others and be a part of the community. And in that process, the way that I thought about Revel has been transformed fairly significantly. And why, when we started talking a little bit about this, we started sharing some of the process we've gone through, we thought it might be helpful for others, and we'll let you judge that. But I said first that I saw it as a static offering. My thought has changed, that I now realize that our Revel point of sale is a very flexible tool. We pretty much put everything out there and just let it lay dormant and let the guest use it. What we didn't realize until we started testing it was that we had a tool here that could be modified and changed on a regular basis. And in fact, going through this season, Jessica on our team is going to talk to you in a minute about how we actually updated and modified it on a daily basis. And it was able to do that through 33 locations and help us to make it in a way that our guests could easily experience all these new different ways to market. I mean, we're a restaurant, and the first thing we started out becoming was a grocery store. And then we went from being a grocery store to being a charity vehicle. And then we went from being a charity vehicle out there with our guests to finding unique ways which they can stay at home and serve meals to their families. And every day we were changing what that looked like. And yet I found, where I thought this was a static tool, that it now became a very flexible tool. But most importantly, we found that it could be really easy for our guests to experience. The second truth is that I just always thought about, as I said, an ordering platform. I realized that using correctly, that Revel could be a communication tool. And we started to set it up to communicate to our guests about all the different ways in which we're going to serve them through this process, beyond just being a restaurant offering food. And that communication process, making them easy to see what this looked like and what those offerings are. So I'm going to turn it over to Jessica. Jessica's our team is all things IT. If anything has happened in this process, Jessica has earned her stripes, and proven that she knows how to get things done. And she has been the key person who's worked with Revel over the last couple of months to stretch what we understood, and to leverage all the things that we now understand can happen. So Jessica, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Scott. I'm going to go ahead and jump in and talk about a few things that Scott had mentioned earlier that we were driving initiatives on. You can see right here on the screen where it says Hero Biscuit Boxes for 10. One of the ways that we communicated to the guests was we just added stuff in the description boxes that we needed them to know. So if you see right here, it says a note will be sent with the order telling the recipient who it's from. So one, we made sure to put the information in there that we needed. And then secondly, we made sure that we had order notes turned on so they could type the note in there. And then the same thing with supplies. You see here on the screen where we just put notes in the boxes that says, limit 5 rolls per order on the toilet tissue. And we also made guests able to find these things easily by moving these initiatives to the very first tab on online ordering. So when they went to the website, the very first thing they see is the things that we were driving them to. So during 1 week, it would be the Neighbors Helping Neighbors program that we had. One of the other weeks, we had the Meals for Heroes. And even during our Easter promotion, we would guide the guest with the messaging on what we needed. So we would put in the boxes, like, for instance, order this Easter basket for us. It's available for pickup on Sunday, and tell them to make sure and choose their pickup date as Sunday when they do the checkout. In addition to that, for the for driving things home and kind of pushing Revel a little bit further than what that we had before, we made sure all of our stores were set up to receive a copy of an email when the guest placed the order, and that was super helpful. And then another thing that we did was we pushed a lot of this stuff on what's going on with our company through social media, and then directed them to Revel's website for their orders and their needs that they have with us. Another thing that we drove home was calling the store when you arrived, and we would just bring the order out to you. So it was great for our pantry items to be able to just, have the guests go place the order online for the grocery and the supplies items that they needed, and then just called when they arrived and we would bring it right out. So that's some of the main things that we did to help drive that stuff forward. And Stephanie, I'm going to go ahead and hand this off to you, and you can continue discussing that. Yes, sir.
Just before you hand it off, let me just build on what Jessica said there. Because those Hero Biscuit boxes, because I said it was a communication tool, and I want to make sure we're being very clear about that. Those Hero Biscuit boxes were an offering we had that we would somebody could purchase something and donate it to a hospital, and we would go deliver it there. We have now over 7,900 meals provided. 98% of those, though, came through our online ordering. We did offer to do those in the stores, but 98% of those almost 8,000 hero meals at $10 each came through our Revel point of sale. Because I said we use a communication tool. So when we say our social media, we have a person we call the voice of Maple Street. She's our head storyteller, and she does our social media as part of our team. She put out online on our social media that we are going to be a vehicle for people to say thanks to the people on the front line. She sent it out, put the link to what Jessica put here, which took them right to our Hero Biscuit boxes. So 98% of that almost 8,000 came through our online system. We never even got to see the guest in our store. They went to here. And that's where I said it became a communication tool for us. And that communication tool, we updated every day. Jessica would take the tabs on the top, and every day, depending on what message you want to communicate, that became the first tab. And the neat thing is, it's a pretty simple process for her to change those tabs. So for when it was the Hero Biscuit boxes, it was Hero Biscuit boxes. But then when we moved, initially we had the pantry, that was the first tab. I never ever thought I would say this, but for 1 week, toilet paper was our #1 selling item. But that was our first tab. The next week it became the Hero Biscuit box became a tab. Then our neighbors helping neighbors. And every time we set that up, it became a communication tool. You go right to what we need. And we didn't have to have guests come into the stores to get it. A huge percentage of what we got became through this new way we leveraged Revel as a point of sale system. So that's how it helped benefit us through this process. So Stephanie, just want to add some of that context around it before we turn it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Scott and Jessica, so much for sharing that. And we will go ahead next and take just a high level look at Revel's online ordering and its features at a glance. So a big thing of what you guys talked about was Revel's cloud-based management console. This allows you to easily access, make changes, and really set up from anywhere, whether you're at home, you're in your office, or even traveling. You can easily and quickly update products, menu offerings, and then instantly push that to your online site. And this, a big part of what you guys also talked about, allows you to keep your customers up to date and provide them a good customer order experience, either from their computer or smartphone. The other huge piece is Revel's online ordering platform and your payment processing plus the point of sale fully integrated. This ensures your entire system's connected, reduces order errors, and aggregates all your data in a central place with specific cloud-based reporting. So how you were able to see that, that 98% of those hero boxes came in through your web ordering, that's all part of Revel's reporting. It gives you that insight. Also allowing to sync your customer relationship management, payments, gift card data, and loyalty information. Now we'll take a quick look again at the specific things that Maple Street Biscuit did with Revel's online ordering, which a huge piece of that being communication with its customers without even seeing them face to face. So putting special instructions on their items or promotions, and we'll take a look at specifically the Meals for Heroes initiative that they did. So here you can see that they have instructions on how to order, how to pick a local hospital, any information that they need from the customer, and then even further descriptions on the different biscuit boxes that you could order. This is very easy to do in Revel, as we've sort of touched on. So right from the management console, you can go in and add a description to either a category, a subcategory, a product, or a modifier, all from the management console, and push that out instantly if you want. Some other things that we'll talk about and some additional tips to how to adapt your online ordering solutions to COVID-19. We're seeing some very cool things that people are doing. First thing being that offering those essential retail or grocery items online. So like Scott said, for a while, surprise, their top seller was tissue paper, toilet paper. So right now there's items that are extremely desirable, hot commodities for people, cleaning supplies. If you can add those and offer those online, just adds the convenience to your customers of how they can get those items, whether it's, you know, having it ready for them to come by and pick it up, or even offering delivery. Another thing is adding some DIY kits offerings. I think this is an especially fun idea, especially with families being home, spending tons of time together right now. Think of items that you can add to your menu where you can provide the ingredients, maybe some quick instructions of how to prepare and bake that item. We're sort of showing a DIY pizza kit here, but make something fun for families to do together and a little bit different than just ordering, you know, already prepared food. But family bundles are also very big right now. Again, families being home, parents are homeschooling, so perhaps making dinner at the end of all of the day is not what you're looking forward to, and just being able to get a bundle for 5 or for 6 for the whole family, where the meal, everything's thought about. You have your entrees, your side, your dessert, and drinks. Literally takes that off of the parents' plate, or, you know, even for couples without families. Revel also has the ability to do upsell combos, which this can be huge for increasing your online ordering revenue. It just naturally gives you the ability online to make customers think about adding additional things to their order. So do they want to upgrade and get a side and a drink? Is there other upgrades that you want to offer, so that it naturally builds up that order, and also just makes customers aware of all of the options that you have. So it's a little different than when they come in person and your staff can maybe ask those questions or communicate those things. This allows online ordering to do that for you, without having that face-to-face. A couple additional items here is you can think about updating your menu to fit the needs of customers, which kind of goes back to some of those examples. What are people's needs right now, and how can you adapt to that? Think also about menu items that package and travel well. Everything right now is, you know, for the most part, is to go or delivery. So what items really travel well, and thinking about that with your menu. Also think about items that have lower prep times. give your kitchen some help, things that are easy and quick to prepare that you can offer on your menu. And then adjusting your hours possibly based off of those peak pickup times or delivery times, which might be slightly different than just, your normal open hours for walk-ins or sit down, and really thinking about when those peak pickup or delivery times are and possibly adjusting your hours to that. We've just launched Revel Go, which is a standalone online ordering solution. It does not matter what your current POS is, and it can easily and quickly be deployed so that you can get going with online ordering. You can offer online ordering to your customers if you don't currently. Don't have to, again, if you're working with another point of sale, that doesn't have to change. We can easily get Revel Go up and give you the ability for online ordering without having to affect that. We're also doing no software costs right now till July 1st. After the webinar, we're going to be sending out an email with the additional links to Revel Go to get more information. You can also just go to revelsystems.com and request a free demo right from our site. But we'll also send out the links after the webinar also, so you guys have easy access to that. We've also put together an online ordering resource center. This link will be emailed out as well. And like mentioned sort of in the beginning, my team, we have been offering almost daily webinars over Revel's online ordering. A lot deeper dive than this, actually going through the setup and the settings and the configuration and explaining the different options that you have. So those are completely free to anybody that wants to join. We have all the times posted on the online ordering resource center that you guys can go. On top of that, we're also offering free one-on-one 45-minute training sessions from everyone on my team as well. And so if the webinar is not quite enough, you still need some further help, you can email and schedule a one-on-one training session to get answers to your questions or get that additional help for setup. And with that, we will take a look in the Q&A box and go through some questions that have come in. See the first one here. Is online ordering a standard product option, or is this an additional service we need to pay for? So I can go ahead and answer that. So with Revel, online ordering is an add-on feature. So there is an additional monthly charge, and you can pretty much get that by reaching out to your sales rep, and they can go over that with you. We also have delivery management as well through Revel that you could pair with online ordering. Let's see, next here, do we need business website for online ordering platform? You don't have to have a website to have the online ordering. There's other ways of getting the portal accessible to your customers. So you don't have to have a website. There's definitely other ways of going about it. But a lot of people will embed it in a website to order online. And then let's see. How Revel thinks about integrating delivery management with online ordering, and what Maple Street Biscuit is thinking about delivery as well. Well, so I can speak to the integrating of the delivery management online ordering, and then maybe Scott, if you want to talk about any of your thoughts about offering delivery as well. Sure. On the Revel side, we do offer both. So we have online ordering and we have full delivery management. It's 100% integrated with the POS platform and essentially streamlines everything. It's all connected, makes it very, very easy to use. And then Scott, if you want to talk about Maple Street Biscuit specifically and delivery.
Yeah, and that's certainly been a key thing for us. So we started out with third-party delivery services right about 6 months ago. Candidly, we were doing the menus at the same prices. And as I did a third-party delivery P&L, I realized we were just doing business for business sake. We determined that if we were going to offer that to folks, we had to do it in a way that could be a sustainable business, which meant it did have to be profitable. So we actually take our prices and whatever the fee is for the third-party service, add that to the prices of our menus so that that fee is paid. The question that you would ask is, well, does that take you out of the market with your guest? And our answer, after we did an initial test and what we've seen since then, is no. What we found is that if you decide I'm at the office and I'm going to order something through a third party, Uber Eats, Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, I've already made that decision. In fact, myself, I was challenged by my team, do you ever look at the price? And the answer is no. I know that I've got 5 people who need a meal and they need it here. It didn't impact our performance at all of those third parties deliveries. Secondly, as it came to this time, we did find in this season that there was an opportunity for us maybe to allow some team members to do our own personal delivery, such as the Hero biscuit boxes, and to gain some hours and gain some income. So we worked with our insurance company to ensure that we had 2 people in each of our community stores who were covered under our current policy, that they had to turn in that they had a driver, eligible driver's license and their own insurance, and they were able to deliver for us. We do not currently have it integrated with Revel at this stage, but as it continues to move forward, we think that's a critical integration that has to happen because people's behaviors have been changing, will continue to change. My challenge to all us restaurateurs is you have to make it a profitable business.
Awesome, thanks, Scott. Let's see, is it possible to edit or view orders to adjust out of stock items before customers pay? So yes, with Revel's online ordering, you would definitely be able to update those items and offerings. So if something is out of stock, you can instantly update and push that so that customers see that and have that experience. So they're not buying items that are unavailable. So you can definitely do that through Revel's online ordering.
And Stephanie, something that's important that we learned through this process, again, I learned a lot about Revel through this, and Jessica talked about, that's not only from a centralized location, but our community leaders at each of the community stores have the capability to go in and take items off their offering. So if they have something, they have to 86 at the city center downtown Chattanooga store that the rest of the stores can offer, they can do that by an individual store functionality.
Yep, absolutely. That's a great point. Next, see, we got, do you integrate with Stewart.com for deliveries? That I would maybe need to follow up on. I'm not familiar with Stewart.com, but it could be a possibility. I don't know if that's a third party. I might need to, we can probably follow back on that. We'll get your information after the call. See, will this work with our app? Depending on what app, if you have like I guess if you have an online ordering app, if you have the app from us, then yes, we do have our own custom commerce that we offer to some people have out in circulation. So that will work through that app. If it's your own app that you've designed, then we would just need to embed the link in the app. So we could definitely give that to you and you would work with your developer on that. How do you receive the orders? Email, pop-up? So both. You can get an email, which I think Scott mentioned how they set that up so that they could get emails at every store for all the orders, but you also will get a notification on the POS screen. And orders can also print out, automatically to your kitchen. So you will get those orders a few different ways, depending on what works best. Will Revel add dining option for curbside in the future? Yes, that's something that we are working on right now. And even currently, it's not one of the standard options, but we have editable dining options that you can edit to be called curbside that is available right now. But we are going to also roll out a specific curbside dining option to be added to the standard list. We do not have live inventory. If an item is ordered that we end up being out of, can we change that order? Yes, if you don't have time to maybe 86 something or mark something as out of stock, you can still edit that order that comes through from online. So you could always, refund the customer for that item that you're out of if need be. There's a similar question about editing an order for a grocery store. So you can pretty much open up the order on the POS once it comes through and make any changes if you need to edit the weight or the price. And then you would be, if it's already paid order, you'd be able to refund the difference. Or you possibly, depending on what you edit, they could have an additional balance due when they pick it up. See a couple more questions about app. Send in real time. Yes. So if it's depending on what app you're referring to, if it's our app, then it would automatically go through to the Revel printers, or even if we're able to embed our online ordering portal in your existing app, it would go through to the kitchen printers in real time. Any other questions for Maple Street Biscuit or Scott? I actually did have a question, Scott, that I was thinking about while you were talking. Obviously, in light of all of the adjustments that just happened over the past 3 months, do you see, or what do you see as far as new adjustments coming over the next couple months? And what do you think is going to emerge sort of like mission critical?
Yeah. I think the bell curve that people have been, Stephanie, talking about will not be the same experience that we have when it comes to retail and restaurants. Where in the bell curve, it escalates and it peaks and it comes down almost at the same curve. I think the backside of that curve is going to de-escalate at a much slower rate than it escalated. Where we saw guests following the guidelines given by the municipalities, county, states that they were in, and they followed through with those. They got into that pretty quickly. What I believe we're seeing and will continue to see is that even as states come out, states' regulations will be more like the bell curve coming out of those as reopening, people's behaviors will not. And that's going to be a much longer term process for people to get comfortable, to go out more often, to go out where other people are at. And that is going to be, I think, a several month, if not years long process as we move forward. And so as we're looking at how we go serve guests in this next year, although it is my hope we get back to what the normal used to be, that our restaurants that have 100 seats, have 100 people in there being served and having a great experience and community happens. I don't think it's going to happen for a year. And as we're building our business models over the next year, we need to see how we can serve our guests in multiple different ways as they need us to serve them. And as we ask and answer that question, that will help us to offset that slowly de-escalating curve on the backside of this. I also think that some things will change forever. I think some people will wear masks forever. Some people are not going to like them. They're going to be done with it as soon as they have to. But some will wear them forever. Some because it's now a fashion statement. Can I have the most decorative mask that's out there? For some, for safety. Some, there's a sense of autonomy, almost a sense of power that I know who I am and you don't know who I am. And I think there's lots of different dynamics will happen. So those things that happen as safety procedures, I think for some folks, not just for safety's sake, but for other reasons, will continue to go on with those for years. And that's okay. We'll find ways to serve them and serve them graciously, because our goal is, as a community store, how can we best serve you? And how can we earn the right to be a sustainable business, which continues to go on by doing that? And so I think we got to play for the long term. This is not a 2-month process, Stephanie.
Right. Yep. That's great. And actually, one more question came in for you. How long do you think or plan to continue offering the sort of additional services or charity type initiatives?
So we evaluate those every single week based on the performance. What we found is that each of those have added a double-digit improvement on sales. And as long as they continue to do that, we think that it is a viable way to serve our guests. When they get down to a single-digit percent of sales, then we have to determine, is it really the way the guest needs the service now? Now, we're continuing asking that question. I will tell you, for the next year, we will find new ways to go serve. The charity is evolving from, we were doing the frontline heroes, to what we now realize, and we all have had people on our teams who aren't getting a paycheck. Food pantries are overwhelmed. And so we just recently partnered with food pantries across the areas in which we operate, that people can donate hero biscuit boxes, now neighbor helping neighbors biscuit boxes, and that we every week will deliver down fresh made meals in those biscuit boxes to those food pantries, and they can advertise it on those days for guests to come do that. And so for those of us who have an opportunity to share and can, we're going to continue to be the vehicle to go do that. That will be an evolving thing. I will tell you that every month through this next year, we're going to ask and answer that question. Now, how do our guests need us to serve them? How do the people in our communities need help? And how can we be a vehicle?
Awesome. Thanks. Let's see. So I think we're going to wrap up here just a minute, but let me see if I can answer one more question. When do you think F&B will be back to normal? Hotels, restaurants, and etc. I think that is more geared towards you, Scott, if you want to give any insight or thoughts that you have on that.
Stephanie, I will if you help me understand what F&B is.
I was hoping you would know.
So here's the challenge everybody on the call should know. We started this restaurant back in 2012, had no restaurant experience and no culinary background. Thank you for whoever gave me food and beverage. Thank you, Craig.
There we
go. I think it's at best a year to be back to the normal. As I said, the curve is going to be much slower. And I think it's going to be an incremental percentage every month over the next year for folks. It's going to depend, of course, by the states in which we operate. And I think it's by the individual. Are they in a class that is more susceptible? And I think they're going to be more resistant. I think at Maple Street, based on our demographics, we have a little bit of a benefit. We have a younger clientele. Foodie experience is important to them. They had discretionary dollars. They want to spend it on something they experience. They're a less vulnerable class. That doesn't mean that we're all there, because we want Maple Street, we say, should be the most inclusive place as a community store. Everybody is welcome at a Maple Street. But I think there's demographics outside of that. The curve is going to be even much slower over the next year. But I think whether it's hotels or restaurants or other forms of hospitality, it's a year-long journey, folks. And when you're building your business plan, my encouragement to you is don't build normal back into it for at least 12 months, but in an incremental stage as you're looking at your plan, your sales, your cash flow analysis. And then every month, it's how do our guests need to serve them in the community today?
Awesome. Well, I think that is it for today's webinar. Thank you so much, Scott and Jessica, for joining and all your insight. Thank you, everybody else that has joined the call. Hope this was helpful and very informational. We will hopefully be doing more of these, so keep your on the lookout for them, and hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.